The iconic feminist writer of Urdu literature, Ismat Chugtai, in her famous short story Roots, encapsulates the 1947 partition, weaving a beautiful plot around the relationship between a Hindu and a Muslim family. The aftermath and chaos caused by the partition has been narrated in a befitting manner. Many people opposed and reacted to the partition, especially the elderly women who had home-rootedness and strong attachment to home for a lifetime. Through the eyes of the protagonist of the story, an older woman called Amma, Chugtai relates to us with an extreme sensitivity to the agony which people faced during the partition. The agony of having to leave one's birthplace, friends, business and culture for a new land only to fulfill the political ambitions of a handful of people. How Amma is torn between the notion of two nations carved out of on and the term our land is beautifully portrayed, and delving deep into Amma's character, lots of elements come out. Though the sectarianism vibes of the partition divided the two families who had been in a relationship over a 3 generations, sharing their grief and happiness, the feeling of onness remains steadily in Amma's heart. She withdraws herself into silence in a sort of protest against the communal discord that has been running rampant between the families. Not from the day when Chabba Miya wrote Pakistan Zindabad, rather from the day of 15th August when she saw two different flags being hoisted by the families. Her body and motherland become on when she bluntly forbids to pack her things up, and a consecutive of questions are asked in the spirit of Amma in reply to go to our land. To her, where the root of one's life is shown, viz. The birthplace where one is born and raised to a grown-up is the land of his or her own. This is where one is grown and surrounded by the love of families, irrespective of caste and religion. And this is because each corner of her home offers distinct memories to relish on. So she remains steadfast in her decision and does not budge from her place despite all the possible efforts made by her family members. The affection and physical attachment to her home have been dramatized aptly with the image of her children's buried umbilical cords. So she cannot be wrenched away across the border just because of peace and contentment. She cannot take the division done by an imaginary line in her stride. She also cannot help thinking about her children when they leave her. Immediately after the departure, a rush of thoughts and memories engulfs her and she gets anxious about their life and safety. Amma's heart flutters and tears come into her eyes, and she thinks, who knows whether the new soil will be conducive to these saplings or make them wilt, these poor saplings. In her another essay, We People, Chugtai admits that parents in her stories did not appear as a dynamic figure, as they are obstacles in the fulfillment of a person's desire, especially for women. But for the first time in this story, she realizes the selfless love of a mother, and she got her mother as an example to build on the character of the mother in Roots. Finally, Chugtai ushers in a kind of fictional solution by a Hindu neighbor, Rupchand Ji, and ends the story on a happy note. She unites the family through Rupchand Ji, whose very existence begins to reel under a pang of collective guilt and feels responsible for the family being uprooted by him. So Chugtai reverses the effect of the partition and retains the truth of transcending unity against the political legitimacies of discord.